Hey everybody, it's Greg Rice. We're here in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. We're at the former Aaron's Furniture Store, and we're with Mr. Mike Debroisse.
Yeah.
Mike, nice to see you.
Yeah, how you doing?
Awesome. Mike is the Director of Planning and Development here in the city, and he's been with the city for 34 years.
I'm considered one of the dinosaurs now.
Longer than I've been alive.
Oh, thanks a lot.
I'm 32,
Yeah,
so
thanks.
he predates my existence. But that's commitment, that's loyalty, and most importantly, that's rare to find.
I think it also has to do with the love of the job that we do and the people that I worked for and with.
And the mayor loves you, the mayor needs you, and most people don't know exactly what Mike does on a day-to-day basis, so that's why I'm having this interview today. So Mike, what is a normal day?
Oh, wow, geez. I don't know what you can say is actually normal for any government job. It's not a 9 to 5 job. I come in early, stay late. There's always stuff to do at night, and you're a business person. You understand that part. And I think a lot of times the public doesn't understand that government employees are dedicated to their jobs, right? It's not just a cush job sitting there. We're a very active department, detail and oriented on getting everything done and result driven, just as like a slogan that the mayor drives at our staff meetings, right?
City on the move.
That's right. So show me the results, and that's what we like to do.
Yeah.
Our weeks are interesting. We go after a lot of grants that are out there nationwide. I have people that are always researching grants and how could a grant be applied to the city. And maybe it doesn't have to be applied to us. Maybe it can be applied to a business owner.
Gotcha.
And if we find those grants, we push them out to the business owners and be like, hey, Mr. Rice, did you know that this grant is available that might tie into some of the properties that you own? So we're not just looking at it for our use. We're looking at it for the whole use of property owners and business owners in the city.
Yeah, and this is a perfect example here, 330 Social Street. What is going on here?
This is cool. So we had a vision with the mayor on buying this property. It is, like you said, a past Aaron's store. They don't own the property, but they were leasing it. And a EDA grant came up. And what we felt was that there's still that need of good quality food that you can actually buy in the city, right? We love our convenience stores, and they're everywhere. But when you go to a convenience store, let's be honest, you're not getting the fresh stuff on every convenience store. I'm not saying that's everywhere in the city, okay? So I don't want people to get us wrong. But where can you go and get the fresh produce and the fresh meat and the fresh fish? Now, we have that in the city. And we're going to say, well, how can we actually bring that to one location? Or then on top of that, how can we spin it where you decide that you want to be a new business owner and you have this vision that, hey, I always like bacon, and now I want to bake cakes, I want to bake pies, but I don't know where to go and where am I going to find the space? We want to take this space of the old Aaron's and convert it into a glorified farmers market, but we're labeling it as a food hub.
Love that. And
we envision 5 to 7 businesses in here starting off either a satellite from another smaller business here in the city, or someone who's coming in with their own idea and wants to grow that idea. And maybe they start here and maybe they grow into another brick and mortar store somewhere else that's even bigger.
Yep.
So that was the concept we liked. We envisioned some garage doors on the side. They can open up in the nice weather.
Yep.
We've got some nice green space in the back for some
Tables.
some tables and food trucks.
Cool.
We actually want to even go up on here. We want to do some hydroponics up above and actually put a cafe up there that would have a little balcony where people can sit out there and have a coffee and stuff. So this is an aggressive project. We have just a little bit more than 2 years to get the whole project done.
Wow.
And we've started working through here with our structural engineers and our own building department to take a look around, and I am so eager to get this thing going.
How long has it been in motion? Since you first got wind or started kind of putting pencil to paper on it?
It's been about a year and a half that it's taken us to get just to get the keys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So it takes a lot of time.
My church took a year to get the keys, so
Yeah.
that's just how it works. You got to do your due diligence. And when you're dealing with the federal government, right, to get the grant, or is it a state grant?
This is a federal grant.
Gotcha.
So a lot
sure
more
that takes-
paperwork that you
yeah.
had to do.
Wow.
But when we do our grants, we sit down at a table and I bring in all my key staff. Our department has, 19 people in it. And, I look around my department, find my staff that I think it would be good to have on a particular grant. And then we bring them in. Then it's every day we meet until that
Gotcha.
grant is due. And I'm like, all right, Mr. Rice, you're doing this part of
Yep.
this project. And, Mr. Royster, you're doing this part of this project. And then, we gather all that stuff, then get it into the format that needs to be submitted, and then off it goes. And then you just cross your fingers.
Wait.
Yeah, you're lucky if you get 1 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we were fortunate. The first couple that we did under me being the director, we were getting, I think we got 3 or 4 right away. Little ones, and this
Yeah.
big one. This is $4 million right here that we're standing in. So this one's a good one for the city.
Yeah, and a lot of people say Woonsocket is a food desert. I've heard the term.
Yes, yep.
And I think of Woonsocket, I think of Caves, I think of Ciro's, Christopher's, River Falls. But after that, I'm kind of like,
Well, we got good restaurants.
yeah, but let's centralize them and let's put them in a place that is highly trafficked and accessible to all types of folks, which is this. And it's going to put Woonsocket on the map again for that that cutting edge
Yeah.
thought,
Yeah, and there's been a lot of outreach, a lot of other agencies reaching out to us to find out what's going on in here and how could they help us. So I like that aspect. So I think this is going to be a win-win, and it's going to, like
For
you
sure.
said, on a main street right here, on Social Street. This is great.
City Hall employees could come down, have lunch,
Walking distance.
walking distance.
Yeah.
And this whole square down here, it's Clinton Social, like it's just so, you don't see that setup. It's rectangular. It reminds me of New York City
Yeah.
in the way that it's set up, the traffic patterns.
Yeah. The one ways through here.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's a lot of developments that's coming down here. You saw the Rise School is expanding down the street.
Yep.
There's another building just down the street that had Rite Aid in it, and there's a few businesses that are actually looking at that one. So there's some growth still coming into this area, and that's what we want.
Yeah. And how about other projects in the city? What else is going on that maybe folks haven't heard about or is under publicized?
So we just had a presentation this week to the city council on the Truman Drive that we're reducing some of the lanes down there. That was a bypass to get people away from Main Street. And as soon as that was done, at the time it might have been a good idea, but it kind of killed Main Street.
So behind
Yes.
City Hall?
Yep. So it was 4 lanes. It's down to 3 already because we took 1 lane for a bike path. And now we're going to take another lane out of that and make it into some green space. So we're about 30% on those drawings. That is all grant money and money from DOT we get some stormwater credits that they need. But that one is going to be really nice when it's done with the bike way, and it's going to be integrated with Main Street through a new crosswalk and the walkway that goes up behind City Hall. So people can, if they're out on their bikes, they can park their bike, secure it,
Walk up.
and then they can walk up, go visit an establishment,
Yeah.
walk back down, grab their bike, and continue
Yeah.
on to bike through the city.
And how about anything along the river?
So the river, we've got, we've bought some properties along the river and demolished some blight in the city along River Street. You've seen that. We've just within the last year knocked down one of the mills that was blight just past on River Street. It was 719 River Street. We just knocked that down.
The one that burned down years back, or?
This one was, this one actually had some hazardous materials in there. So as you're
Gotcha.
leaving the city on the right, and that one's got there's already some people that are already inquiring as to what can be done over there when we're all done getting that place all cleaned. The other projects, as you know, St. Anne's, All Saints Church was for sale on Rathman Street and Social Street. We took up the whole block, so we had some bids come in on that. It'd be interesting to see what the developers have
In
for
mind.
vision. Yeah.
And that was bought by the council, right? That
Yes.
property?
Yep.
So it'd be nice to hopefully see some more residences. Is that the hope?
I like to see commercial.
Yeah.
I know people always say that, we're short on housing. Woonsocket, I don't think is short on housing. The people will disagree with what I say on that, but I like to see the business aspect. You can't continuously change all these buildings into residential, right? You're doing that right now. You're seeing that, right? You're taking a church and making it into a residential building. Great, repurpose a building, right? But what happens if that was a commercial space like what we're in and we just changed to
Wouldn't make
residential?
sense.
And now all of a sudden you've got this huge influx of all these residents, and then they're like, well, where's all the businesses? Well, we just changed all the businesses into residential.
Right.
So you have to still keep that in your vision, that
Yep.
you have to have that for the residents that you're bringing into the city.
Makes sense.
They need someplace to go and eat, buy good food,
Yep.
do their laundry, their daycares, all that good stuff.
True. And in Pawtucket, my office is in downtown Pawtucket on Main Street there. It's all commercial, but it's empty. And it's been empty for 10 years that I've been down there. And people say, oh, if we bring people to live there, it could potentially spur development on that Main Street. And at this point, I don't know, because it's like, it's been commercial and it's still blighted and vacant. I think a lot of people are hoping that the stadium got built there.
Yeah.
And that was going to revitalize that area. But it's just downtown Pawtucket historically has just been kind of a nuisance. Nobody's really been able to get that going since the mid-'60s, it seems like. And Woonsocket, your Main Street is starting to boom, and I've
It
been
is.
here for 10 years, and I've seen just in a decade it's starting to pick up steam.
It is. It definitely helped with the higher ed that moved into
Yes.
the old commercial block, right? And that helped out a lot. Nice facility. We've had some meetings in there, and we've done some trainings in there. Great location. And because of that, and it's bringing in student population to take nighttime classes, that spurs some other growth for some commercial, right? So everybody goes to school, needs a place to eat.
Yep.
Or they may need to pick up some groceries on the way home, or
Yep.
they're dry cleaning. So that's what, something like that ends up getting bigger and bigger. And now you see on Main Street, the old Woonsocket Coal building was bought, some commercial on the first floor, residential on the top half.
Awesome.
And the building next to it is doing the same thing.
How about the hospital trust?
That's a good one. That one's gonna be commercial on the first floor.
Yep.
Residential all up on the top. And those developers are going through their abatement plans for asbestos in the building that has to get cleaned out first,
Big
which
time.
almost every building has it, especially these older ones, right?
Yep.
And they're going through that, and you should see some action on that relatively soon.
Now, how about that first floor? Do you know what type of commercial?
They haven't, we saw some plans, and, when the developer's ready to make those public, then then the public will see what's the square footage that's available. And, then you'll start seeing some people come in and start saying, I got a vision.
Yep.
I like that space. I like 500 square feet. I like 2,000 square feet.
Mm.
And I'm sure that they'll try to build to suit if somebody comes in and says that they want a certain square footage.
I looked at that building and I had a bank on the line that was interested in renting that whole first floor, which I thought would be nice to bring it back to its infancy and utilize those high pillars and the high
It
ceilings
was beautiful in there.
instead of splitting it up. But that's a tough rent to get that whole first floor.
It is. It
But
is.
that building is a gem.
It is.
Needs a lot of work,
It
but
does,
it's a gem.
right? But developers such as yourself come in with these visions, and sometimes other people can't see them, and you're like, they see it, it's there, and before you know it, you start looking at it and you start seeing that progression of how that building is changing. You're like, damn,
Makes sense.
yeah, they had a
Or
good
why didn't I
vision.
think of that? Or-
Yeah.
So how about when somebody comes with an idea that maybe you don't agree with or you don't feel is in the best interest of the city? For example, I believe on Diamond Hill they wanted to put a dispensary last year or something like that.
Compaction center.
Compassion Center.
Yep.
And that was it voted down?
It was voted down. They appealed it in court, and they won.
Yep.
So they are going to be occupying one of the plazas,
Gotcha.
and the zoning board had to change their the vote on that per.
Supreme Court
Yeah.
or Superior, I forget
Yep.
who it was.
Yep. You're right. So yeah, you are right. Sometimes someone's going to come in, and they may not come in with the same vision that the administration has. And what's nice that the mayor has brought in is when a developer like yourself, and I think you've experienced this, is when you come in with your idea and you're like, oh, I got an appointment, I'm at the plan director's office, and you go in there and there's 12 staff members sitting there going, what's this? Well, you're coming in with an idea.
Yeah.
We're fully vested to hear what your idea is.
Yep.
Our inspectors are in there. Our zoning officers are in there.
Fire marshal.
Our fire marshals, our city planners in there.
Yep.
So we can hear what you have, and if you've got questions, we can start getting those answers.
Yes.
Your time is money. We're here to help you get through that transition. People always talk about red tape, and unfortunately there is.
Yeah,
But we can't cut it all, but we can help you work through it.
for sure.
And the mayor has always had that, since she's been mayor, has been like, when we meet with the developer, we're bringing in all our important staff that has to do with that project.
That will touch
Every
it.
staff member is important, but what staff member is touching that project?
Yep.
And that's who you're gonna sit with. And then before you leave, she says, and so-and-so is gonna be your point person.
Which was you in my case.
Right. And now you don't have to say, oh, who do I have to call for this?
Yeah, but-
No, I call Mike, I tell Mike, this is what I have a question on, I
Yep.
get you the answer. Now that cuts all your time.
100%.
So you can just devote your time on your project.
And that's so true. When we came with the church project, it was the mayor, it was you, it was fire department, it was building department. I think zoning was there as well, which I think is under your building department.
Yes,
And everybody was there, all ears with their notepads, and I was like, wow, this is just a from the hip idea, but you guys and gals took it serious from day one. And that resonated with me because I was like, wow, the door is open for business.
That is correct.
It is not a brick wall, it is not a steel door with a padlock on it. It's literally like, hey, door's open if the idea musters up.
But a lot of ideas, even if it's a not idea that the administration may not be 100% on board with, what is that idea that you have? And maybe we chat about the idea.
Yep.
And we talk about what the good point and bad points are that the city sees, and you talk about the good points and bad points that you see as a developer.
Yeah.
And then we both come in and say, and you're like, well, yeah, if I change this, and the city says, yeah, well, yeah, if you change that, we understand how that works. And we end up building that relationship. And then I think most developers that have come into the city will say that they leave positive
100%.
on their vision, and it may not have been the vision that they started with. It's still got that same concept, and they start saying, all right, now I understand, because the directors, the staff members, the mayor, we live this every day in Woonsocket, so we know what the city needs and where everything needs to be. You come in from Pawtucket or whatever, or another community, it'll be like, all right, I know how Pawtucket might
Yeah.
work, how does Woonsocket work?
Right.
And I think by doing those roundtables, it's brought a lot of stress down for some developers.
Yeah. It just made it easier, and it's made it somewhere that you want to continue to come back to. And that's why I'm such a promoter for Woonsocket. I am not paid to promote Woonsocket at all. I do this because it's honest and it's how I feel. And I can't say I'm the biggest fan. There's probably bigger fans than me, but I am a big fan of Woonsocket.
And we appreciate that. I mean, any developer who comes into our door, and there's probably a couple a month that come in and with different ideas. And we met with a developer today, and he comes in and he had 4 different proposals for 4 different sites throughout the city. And it was just interesting to sit there and listen to their thoughts on everything.
Yeah.
Good conversation back and forth. When he left, he was ecstatic with the information that he left with.
Yep.
And hopefully from that, he makes some good investments.
100%. And before we go here, what's the last thing that you want the folks at home to take from you and to take from the city here?
Like you said, the city is open for business, and granted, I think you can almost go into almost any municipality, they're going to tell you that, right?
Yeah.
But we don't just tell you that.
Correct.
We do it.
It's true.
We do it. Our office is open. We do ask that you make an appointment so I can make sure that we get everybody available for you. So we do have an open door, but if you can call ahead and say, hey, I want to meet with the planning director and this is what I want to talk about, we'll make sure all that staff is there. Woonsocket's got a lot to offer. We're so close to the neighboring communities, Massachusetts, Blackstone, Bellingham, and then you can drive right up into New Hampshire and stuff from here. So I think when you look at the space that the city has, We have a lot to offer here.
Yep.
The mayor's done, a fantastic job in all the roads that we've been paving, all the parks that we've been rebuilding, all the new infrastructure that's been going in place. So a business coming in here is seeing how much the city has turned and the growth that we're still seeing coming in. Within the next 18, 24 months, we're probably putting 300 to 400 apartments, new apartments into the city.
Wow.
So if you've got a commercial idea, bring it to us because we're going to have people here that are going to
Yep.
need that.
100%.
Yes.
Awesome. And if you have any questions for Mike, put them in the comments field below. We'll get right back to you. Once again, Greg Rice here in Woonsocket with Mr. Mike Debroisse.
Thank you very much. I
Thank you,
appreciate
brother.
your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.